Welcome to the Journey 2020. I'm Charles Morris. Happy to be here with you on this Monday coming off the weekend. And are we ready for the fall season? Are we ready for football season? We're trying to get used to this new normal. I'm not quite sure the answer to that. But I'm Charles Morris. As I said, this is the Journey 2020 where we come to you every Monday at 7 p.m. And we've been around for a while, since 2013. And, you know, this is our third Monday, so which means we have our I'm trying to find the right adjective to describe our special person that comes on the third Monday. She is out of Robinson Associates, clinical psychologist, sex therapist, and we have a lot of fun with her. But before we bring her on, we also have to let you know on the fourth Monday of every month that we have either Haki Nkrumah. Boy, I'd like to butcher this name. Haki Nkrumah from Young Fathers of Central Florida. He is He is with Young Fathers of Central Florida, and he has a very unique program. He has an organization with 9 programs within the organization. So he makes sure that I always correct myself because I say he has a very unique program. No, he has an organization with 9 unique programs in it. And what they do is something very special, and that is they mentor young fathers as young as 12 years old on up to about the age 27 or so. And they help them deal with all the stuff that comes with being a young father. Now, how great is that? There's nothing more important than that, right? That's the truth. And so they're always looking for volunteers. I mean, you can always donate money, but time is so precious that's what's important to him, is that he find mentors and people that can spend time with these young men to mentor them, to guide them, and to help them. So there's nothing more important than that. If he's not available, then we have our very own life coach, that is Regina Johnson. She helps us with our finances. So that's the fourth Monday of every month that comes to you right here on the Journey 2020. And like I said, on the third Monday, we have our clinical psychologist. And you know what? I want to actually need to tilt down a little bit. You got a lot of headroom. We need to see more of that face.
I do?
Right? Yeah, there you go.
Okay, is that better?
There you go. We need to see
All
more
right.
of you and that smiling face. And how you doing?
I am doing fabulous. It's great to be here.
Yeah. You know, I received a video this morning. Were you like on a Zoom call this morning or something?
It was our virtual walk and run.
Yeah, I received that, and I had to do a little something with that. But yeah, that was kind of cool.
Sure.
You know, that was kind of cool what you
Yeah.
guys did this morning. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did that come about?
You know, every year we do our walk and run, to promote mental health and, of course, addiction. And we would normally do it, whether it's downtown or in different areas in Orlando. But with the pandemic this year, we were not able to do it that way. So we decided to do it virtual, where, of course, we're not in our offices, so we had to do it in our neighborhood, to promote mental health and addiction, the
Yeah.
Multicultural Addiction Network.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, I got a call and they asked me to kind of do a little something to it and kind of fix it up with some of the difficulties of some of the challenges that you guys faced this morning. But, actually it turned out pretty good. So you will
It was cool.
you will see the end result. And actually, I was trying to find something, Kathy. I'm going to see, because I've had it on my desktop for a long time, and I've been trying to find it. Let me see if I can find something that I've been looking for. I don't know if I can, but wait a minute. You know what? I think I may have found it. I'm trying to figure out, like, who is this person?
Oh my goodness. I have no idea who that is. Where did you get that? How long ago was that?
Who is that? Who is that?
I
Yeah,
remember. Oh, that was at our opening, our office
yeah,
opening, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's from a while back. Well, listen, you got to get us. I mean, you got to. We need to be updated on what's going on with you when it comes to the virus and the clientele. Is everything pretty much the same? As everything has changed when it comes to your clientele, the stress level, are people because you deal with the stress part of it. People. Because we see stuff on the news and we really don't hear enough about people that don't have food. We don't hear enough about those that can't pay their bills. We don't hear enough about those that are truly struggling with car payments and those type of things. So I know those type of things that you deal with. Is it worse? Is it any better? Has it kind of leveled off? What is it like now still?
Things have worsened because, of course, with the pandemic, you have many people who have lost their jobs. So they're unable to pay their bills. There's another component to that. More people are at home. So, with husband and wives, children, everybody at home, it makes things worse because if they didn't have a very good relationship before, now they're forced to talk to each other. And those unresolved issues are coming to the surface and they're forced to deal with them. Some of them, they do have the tools, and some of them don't. When they don't have the tools to deal with them, then we have those issues: depression, we have the conflicts, we have just a myriad of issues.
Well, I talked to a friend of mine that lives up in Michigan, and she was talking about that. And she said that she came to her husband and said, honey, we're in this house and we're looking at each other, and I'm really kind of tired of looking at you, but we're going to have to do something. And she said that they talked, but she said she also realized how much money they was wasting on going out to eat. And she said that they, I guess, because all of this is weird to me.
Hmm.
Seriously, I mean, I know it's true that whether or not you have issues of spending time with your child, which is weird to me, whether or not you have time spending time with your significant other, which is weird to me.
Oh boy.
But that's the truth. So
Yeah.
as I've gotten older, I
Speak your
realize that
truth.
people in their relationships are different than what I may know it to be, and their rhyme and their reason and their ideas and purpose and why they do what they do is different than my perspective. That's just part of all of us making the world go round. So I look at certain things a certain way, and if I decided that say I want you to marry me, then I'd like to think that it's somebody I want to spend time with, but that's another show.
That
I
gets
don't know
old
how
after
you,
a while.
but no, but I'm just saying I don't know how you go, but baby, I'm gonna take my last name. Then we have to spend time together, and I'm like, ooh, but which is what we're gonna talk about because I want I want to tell you this. Okay, oh no, but was there something that you wanted to comment on what I just said before I get to my
No, I just wanted to comment on what that lady said about saving money because people are still scared of going to the restaurants. All those people who don't know how to cook, they're forced to start preparing those meals. And
what's
when they're forced to eat at home, that's when they realize really how much they were spending eating out. And
which
for some of those entertainment, it forces some people to become creative.
right.
do things to entertain each other. And then the ones who don't like each other, then they learn how to fight and all those issues.
That's pretty good, though. That's a pretty good way of putting it. Learning how to fight, because that's important. That's important.
That is
Learning how to
very
fight.
important.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. Because some of us
yeah.
don't know how to fight.
Don't know how to fight.
Right, right, right,
Don't
right,
know how to ask for what they want. Don't know how to be fair. All
right,
those come into it.
right, right, right. That's a very good point. You know what? We we should do a show on called knowing how to fight. I mean that would be a very good show.
I think
Because,
so.
yeah, because when we say fight, people actually think we're talking about fighting, but that's not what we're talking about, of course.
Yeah.
Because people think we're talking about fighting, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about being able to have conversation and disagree. That's really what we're talking
Yeah.
about, right? And so
Exactly.
so we should have a show on knowing how to fight.
Knowing how to fight.
Yeah.
When your back is against the wall, how do you fight?
Right, 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 right. Because there's so many. I mean, there's different levels of that. Because there's like levels, and then there's that deep level when you say your back is up against the wall. So that's you have to cover all of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Cause,
we'll cover
'cause-
all of that.
yeah, because some of us truly don't know how to fight. you know, uh,
We don't.
but yeah,
We
but
don't.
I was sharing with you, and I wanted to share this with you. And I don't know if you recall this, but on the show, and I've said this on numerous occasions, more than once, more than twice, that over the years, as I started to get some years on me, you started to realize some things. And I realized that there were some people in my life that I needed to apologize to, you know.
Uh-huh.
And there's quite a few of them that I was able to get in touch with. And there was one in particular that I said, man, I spent some time trying to find her, Kathy, and finally I was able to find her a few weeks ago. I found her through her daughter. Yeah, I
Oh
found
boy.
her daughter. I found her daughter online, and I asked her, "Do you know this person?" And she go, "That's my mother." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I said, "Could you please give your mother a message for me?" And she was like, "Okay." So she actually called me. I said, "Can you call me?" And then so she called me, and I was talking to her, and I said, "Could you? I need you to apologize." She said, "Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to get into this conversation. I actually have her on the phone. She's listening." But she said, "I don't want to hear this conversation. You guys need to exchange numbers so you guys can talk." So I was like, okay. So, I talked to her, and I realized that this year was 40 years since I've seen her.
Ooh.
It's been
Wow.
for, it's been 40 years since I've seen her. And I want to share this with you, and I don't know if this can help in therapy or anything like that for people that are listening, because as I've learned that there's something in a woman's DNA that doesn't put her in the room with me. And what I mean by that is she really doesn't understand my philosophy. She doesn't understand how I think, and my rhyme and my reason. It don't make it right or wrong, but just my understanding of my world. There's just something for some women, they just can't venture into my room. So over the years, as I look back, and there's a lot of things that I didn't know. And so as I matured in life, I always remembered the look on her face when I told her I was leaving Boston and I was coming home. That look that she gave me standing there always was in the back of my mind. And then as I matured in life, I realized something. She was in love with me. I didn't know it at the time. But I've also remembered relationships, and as I matured, that there were people that was in love with me, and I had no clue. Those are the people that I've been trying to apologize to because I didn't recognize and didn't understand. But I've also, Kathy, has heard the stories of the after effect, which is life. You know, that's life.
Mm-hmm.
And even she shared with me things after the relationship and how it affected her. Things that once I knew of other people that I talked to, and they told me, this is what happened when we broke up. This is years later.
Wow.
And it's like, wow. Even to this day, she said something that I know that is still affecting her from the relationship from 40 years ago.
After 40
Well,
years.
I'm not trying to, what I'm trying to say is her perception of something that happened in a relationship carried over to another relationship in her perspective of guys is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, when something like that, and I've heard that and I've seen that happen based on conversations when people are in love with you and you don't, you know, and this is the cause and the effects, and you realize that that's life, because I've had my heart broken, and
Yeah.
you know, we move on and that's part of life. But still, for myself, knowing that I played a part in anybody's life that has caused them any
Mm-hmm.
type of turbulence or pain, or for something that I did wrong, even though you say that's life, I still have to say, look, I'm sorry. I didn't know any better. I was wrong. I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
And she said, you know, Charles, we both were young. And, you know, we both were young and blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm leaving a lot out from the standpoint that what I mean by this is she asked me a question that frustrated me. And that's now when I say this, Kathy, I want you to hear me very clearly when I say this. Okay, hear me very clearly. And this is what I mean by I get frustrated sometimes with the opposite sex. She asked a question to me because I said something in reference to, I'm leaving stuff out because she shared something because I had a girlfriend, my main girlfriend was going to school.
Did she know about the main girlfriend?
Well,
I gotta
well,
ask that.
well, hold on. Wait a minute. I'm going to see, she shared something with me that I didn't know because I was
Mhm.
just doing what I was doing. So it was in that conversation, she said how hurt she was when she found out that my girlfriend was coming to town to see me. Because I just said, hey, you know, my girlfriend coming to town, because I was just doing what I was doing. And she said she didn't know I had a girlfriend and how that hurt her when all of that happened. But now understand something. My girlfriend came to town and she left and everything was normal. Nothing was ever said to me at that time. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So whatever relationship we had the relationship, and I could say, hey, you know, my girlfriend coming to town. She never said anything. She never showed any type of nothing at that time. It wasn't until when I talked to her a few weeks ago, she talked about how that hurt her and how shocked she was I had a girlfriend. But she never said anything. So I never knew that that was part of the equation. So, but with that being said, and I said something in reference to another girl and how I came to, that's how she found out about the other girl, because the other girl is how I ended up in Orlando. And I said, a girl from Boston. She said, Boston? Were you seeing her while you were seeing me? I didn't answer that question. But this is the, but this is the deal. This is what she asked me, Kathy. She said, what did I do wrong? And you know how you kind of like have the phone and you kind of like this, like she's asking, what did she do wrong? And you
Wrong.
almost want to say 40 years and you still haven't learned
You're
certain things
still
about life,
asking
and
that
there's nothing that
question.
anybody did wrong. It's just like I didn't answer her. I was saddened by the question. I mean, I understand, knowing what I know about women, I understand, but it's almost like
Mhm.
40 years later, you still in this same place and understanding men and what did I do wrong. And this is what I mean by that, Kathy. And I
Yeah.
told her that we talk about this on the show. Women, people like to say stuff like this right here, if you love me. And I try to
Mm-hmm.
convey the best of my ability that men, and I can say, I can't speak for women, but I'm going to say this right here. We do
Mm-hmm.
what we do, and a lot of time it has nothing to do with my love or lack of love for you. This is about me
Right.
and whether or not I'm selfish. And I will always, and just to cut through the chase, a lot of times when women ask the question, if you love me and why would you do that, it's not a case of whether or not that man loves you, it's who he is morally. It's a moral question. That's that's
Exactly.
that's that's what the question is. He could love you more than anything on this earth. And you're going, well, you did this. Well, you're not going to ever supersede my flesh, ever. I don't care. And I tried to have a conversation with somebody. I was trying to break that. But for some odd reason, you put this with this, and this don't go with this over here with us. This doesn't say because I go over here and do this that I don't love you. I can love you more than anything in the world. But it's a moral issue in the sense of who I am morally. It's not an issue of whether or not I love you or don't love you majority of the time. A lot of the time, it could be, well, I really don't love you. But a lot of times, you're looking at something and you're not looking at who I am morally, and you haven't
Right.
even addressed the issue of who I am morally. So you don't know who I am morally. You're going on your feelings and your emotions. And that's what you tied into. Did
Mm-hmm.
I say anything wrong?
No, because here's the thing. She could have been the perfect woman, but when that happened to her, if there's such a thing as a perfect woman, but she was doing everything right in the context of that relationship. And when that happened, instead of saying, wait a minute, I didn't do anything wrong, and yet he did that, she made it about her. And it
Right.
may have damaged her self esteem because, well, not damage, it played into her self esteem. Because if she had a good self concept, she would not be ascribing the blame to herself. She would have looked at you and said, wait a minute, I'm a
You
good
lost a good
woman.
thing. What she should have said was, you lost a good thing.
Exactly.
Right. That's what she should have said to
Exactly.
me. I would have
Yeah.
said that I could have dealt with versus asking me what did I do wrong. And I'm like, you
Yeah.
didn't do anything wrong. But if you had
Yeah.
said, well, you did, but you left and you left it, but you didn't leave with me, you left a good thing. And that I would have been like, that I could go like, okay, yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. That was your loss. See,
Right.
I'll be like, that was your loss. You don't know what you're losing, but instead she's saying, what did I do wrong? So that may have occurred 40 years ago, but it's still impacting her in that she has not learned that it was not about her.
Right. Exactly. It was never about her. It never
No.
was. There's a lot of things that I can say in reference to where I was at that time in my understanding, but women don't. Hopefully, one of these shows we can talk about where men put certain things and how women try to associate themselves with something that has nothing to do with what's in their mind on an
Yeah.
on an emotion, because I put
Right.
energy into this, therefore it must be this, and it's the complete opposite. A lot of times it's not what you
Exactly.
think I'm putting this energy into. But that's enough. But this is what I want to address. The show that I titled the show, what do you do when you're no longer attracted to your significant other, Kathy? So now, I've had this battle with my friends for years and years. Years I've been having this conversation. So help me as a woman. Help me to understand something. I can only come from the perspective of a man. And that is this right here. When I walk up to you, I've had this conversation 1,000 times, and people think that I'm talking about something totally different than what I'm talking about. I come up to you, there's a, I won't even name the club. Let's just say there's a club. Well, no, you know what? Let's just say we're out at the park. It's not even a club. I don't even want to meet you at the club. I'm just out shopping in the grocery store, and I walk up to you and I go like, whoa, what's your name? And you go, my name Kathy, and I'm from Jamaica. I say, oh, okay, so how's that curry goat? Huh? And you go, oh, nobody cooked no curry goat like I cooked some curry goat and some rice. And I'm like, really? Yeah, and some yams, really? Yeah. I said, oh, okay. So we talk on the phone a little bit, and you invite me over for some curry goat and some rice and yams, and all good. And I look and I be like, Jamaica got some good fine women. Right? And I'm trying to say that I'm attracted to this Jamaican woman, right? And so, to make a long story short, what happens, because, and I think, have you heard me say it? Because I don't know if you remember me saying this. I said there's somebody that I was in a relationship, and I never loved anybody the way that I love her. And we're no longer together.
Yes, you've talked about that person.
Right. But I said that she got to a point where she walk in the room, she'll never be somebody that I ever look at and go, come here, baby, come here. She would never look, put anything on, or get to a point where she walk in the room and she looks sexy. Remember me saying that? Right? So,
Yeah, I've heard you
right.
talk
So,
about that.
right. So what I'm trying to say is, loving her is not the issue. But what happens when your lifestyle take you to a place where you don't take care of yourself? Not for me. That's for you. I'm talking about the male and the female. And I'm
Right,
not trying
right.
to say anything but other than I don't understand, because even now when I call her up sometime and talk to her, and I think she said to me about like maybe 2 years ago, she said the doctor had put her on high blood pressure medicine. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing on high blood pressure? I mean, I yelled at her. I was like, what are you doing on high blood pressure medicine? Are you crazy? Because we've always been good friends. We always will be good friends. That has never changed. And so now I'm yelling at her like, what are you doing on high blood pressure medicine? Because I don't know her like that, and I'm like, I'm disappointed. So this person who I love, who I care about, who we're friends, that sister could never walk in the room with something on and I go like, girl, you look sexy, ever again in life. Ever. Ever. Ever, ever. Ever. So my thing is, for whatever reason that her eating habits is what it is, whatever it is that she don't do, or whatever her lifestyle is, my only point that I try to make is, I think it is so fair that, because it's important to me, that when you walk in the room, I can go like, I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm not asking you to be a lot of things. I just ask you to love yourself. So you don't be on high blood pressure medicine, that you're not, diabetic and all this other health issues, that you're conscious enough that you want to take care of yourself, not for me, but for yourself, and that you can be around for your children as well as your man. So I don't get why, well, part of it is that when pastor talk about how God gave you dominion over the earth, but yet things come in and have dominion over you, which causes you all these other problems, because these things are more stronger in life than you recognizing, and you have given into them. for whatever reason. And so, like for an example, Kathy, I went home 2 weeks ago for my cousin's funeral, right? My cousin died at the age of 49. You know, unfortunately, he was born with a bad heart, and he was
Oh,
actually
okay.
next in line to have a heart transplant. He had a major surgery in
Oh,
his 30s, but he was born with a bad heart. And he died at the age of 49 and he was next in line for a heart transplant. So I go home, we have the funeral, and I'm looking at some of my relatives and people I hadn't seen in a while, and Lord have mercy, I wanted to go up to a couple of my cousins and say, do you have a mirror in the house? Because it's just like, guys, I know my family from when I was little, and I'm walking and I'm looking and I'm like, man, what are you doing? Because
mhm.
the belly's out to here and da da da, and you can tell because all they do is eating.
Mhm.
So it's like I don't understand. I mean, I understand, but I don't understand because it works both ways.
Yeah, it does.
So I don't get why people don't love themselves enough, let alone if I walk in the room, Kathy, you know, I love that you make your little curry goat and your rice, but I would like to think that
But
you look at
you
me and
gotta
go
have a
like, come
little
here,
bit of
man, you
stuff.
know, because I don't know if you know
Yes.
the Playboy centerfold where the men look at the Playboy centerfold and they go like, that's how I want to look at my wife.
Yes. Mhm.
Boy, come here, come here. Oh, versus,
Yeah.
can it get any dog in here? You know, that's hard. That's hard
That's
when
a
you got to
hard
mentally,
thing.
I won't even tell you what you have to mentally do. That's a whole nother show. What you have to mentally do to try to put yourself in the right frame of mind to try to have your woman come in and go, yeah, baby, come in, come in. So anyway, I've talked. Help me out. Give me some suggestions. Do you run across that in your practice?
I see that that works both ways because I think that sometimes what happens when the women, once they've gotten married, they stop caring for themselves because they weren't doing the things that they needed to do for the right reasons. And the same things you did to get that man, you got to do the same thing to keep him. So that simply means that if you used to really carry yourself well, you used to exercise, and he's accustomed to seeing you a certain way, you need to maintain that. And you don't just put on these big old dresses and granny panties and things like that and think that that's going to hold the man's interest. I believe that we got to take care of ourselves. And we need to dress right to hold the interest because if we're not doing that, men are very visual. So they will start going out there and looking at the other women. So it's okay to cook the Jamaican food, but you don't eat it all.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna let you finish, but you just make me think of this is a true story, and I don't want to sound evil, but I'm gonna sound evil, Kathy. I'm gonna sound evil, but this is a true story, right? Okay, the girl that I was telling you about that I said I never love anybody with, you know. So this is the girl that I was dating when I was in Boston, and we actually got back together 20 years later. I said that I
Mhm.
would never date anybody that I've dated before over the years, and I said, you know, but if there's one person that I probably will date again, somebody that I've already dated, I said it would be her, not knowing that I would ever even talk with her or even see her again. But over the years, I'd be like, well, no, I don't really go and date anybody that I did. But if there's one person, so 20 years later, we start dating again, Kathy, right?
Mhm.
So when I met her, she had a 2 year old. So now, 20 years later, when I go back into her life, she's coming to the end of a marriage. She now has a 4 year old and 11 year old. Okay. So she's not, because when I dated her back in those days, she was like maybe a five, maybe like a
Okay.
five, like a five,
Five,
a six,
six.
six, a six at the most, but she was more like a five, somewhere around up in there. So now I won't even say what size she is, right? But I'll say that, no, I won't say what size she is now, back when I go back into her life. But as we got closer and I came back into her life, she got down to a size 8'9". Okay? She was constantly a 8'9", right?
Okay.
But this is the deal. When we first got together and we're talking, as you try to help us in our sex therapy and talk about, trying to keep things excited and da da da. So this is what was going on, Kathy. Now I'm just gonna share this with you, but you can't tell nobody that this is what was
Of
going on. All
course
right?
not. This is
Okay.
just between
Right.
us.
This is just between us two. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You try to blah blah blah. I asked her to mail me something in the mail. Okay. I
Okay.
asked her to mail me some of her panties. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, okay. All right. Okay. So she said, oh, okay. So, Kathy, she mailed me some of her underwear. Right? Kathy, package came.
Yes, let's hear it.
Went to the mailbox. I'm like, oh. I opened it up. And there was these big brown panties. Bloomers. I call them bloomers. Because I was like, what the? Not only that, they were brown. And I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
oh my God. And I'm standing there because, mind you, this is different for me. Very different for me. And I'm like,
Yes.
whoa. I'm like, I think I'm going to wash my car with these. That's the first thing I thought about. Not only can I wash the car with them, I probably can dry the car too.
Oh my
And then
goodness.
the funny thing is, that was years, and I'm trying to think, like, what did I do with those? I don't know what I did with them. It reminded me of my aunt underwear that used to be flapping out there on the clothesline. Back when we used
On
to hang
the-
our clothes outside, and they'd be out there
Oh
flapping.
my goodness. Wow.
And I'm like, oh my God. Oh, oh.
Lord.
But that's between you and I. Don't you tell nobody that story, all right?
That is crazy.
That's a
That is
hey,
so crazy.
that's a true story. And I never will forget when I opened it and I looked and I saw the brown. And it just kept getting brown, bigger brown, bigger brown, bigger brown, bigger brown. And I'm like, what the? Oh,
So, what was the conversation that you had after with her after you received it?
I didn't have one really. I didn't even really bring it up. I didn't. I mean, I don't even think that I even brought up. You know, I think I said, "Thank you," something like that. But I don't think I brought it up really. Like, because I mean, I was more Well, I was kind of heartbroken because you're trying to, because you feel
Yeah.
this way about this person, but you want it to be sexual. I mean, sexual and blah blah blah, and I wanted to marry
Yeah.
her and some other things, but gave her a ring and some and all of that, and just because of some other stuff. It's not because it was some other stuff. Reason why we didn't get married was, I don't know if I shared with you, was just it was other stuff, that the stuff
Yeah.
that we used to argue about all the time, which had nothing to do with any of this conversation that that we're talking about.
Right, right.
But it was that was different, Kathy. That was because
Yeah.
I'm very visual. I'm
Yes.
very
Yeah.
visual, and I'm not looking for her to be perfect. Just care. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand why you don't care.
Yeah.
Not for me, but for yourself. Because
Yeah.
like for an example, everybody likes the response. When and what I mean by that is, look at how people respond to the response. So let's just say,
Exactly. Yeah.
if you're sitting there and you're with your spouse and something, and somebody walk by and they go like, and then they do that, and you be like, what you looking at? And that's what I'm saying, because that's how we
Yeah.
are. And it could be the girl. The girl could look over and the guy and husband like, what you looking at? So I don't get that. I don't get why you don't want me to look at you like that. I just don't understand that. That is just, I don't get that.
But
I just don't
going back,
understand that.
I don't understand. But I tell you what, going back to that lady who sent you the granny panties, she wasn't in tune with who you are as a person. And she really didn't understand men, because the
What?
reality is, if you are that freaky where you want her to mail you the panties, she should recognize that you are visual and you want something sexy. And even if it's not hers, she should have run out to Victoria's Secret, get a catalog, Fredericks, put it on, and said, hey, this is me, even if it's only one leg that can fit in it. But you gotta do something. I'm trying to be comical, but that's the truth. Men
Well,
are visual. You can't do that.
right. Yeah, you're right. Because when I opened that package, I was like, whoa. But still, just I mean, you're absolutely right in that sense. We never really talked about that. I really didn't want to talk about it because it was just a reminder. But but she did work on it, and she got down to a size 8, and, we and actually the thing of it is, Kathy, she like we used to go run together. We used to go run together. We actually ran in a half marathon together, which was what, 13.1 miles or something like that. Yeah, it
Oh,
was yeah,
wow.
a half marathon. We did that, and you know, so she would do different stuff, but still, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I don't understand. I just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, just like watching my cousins, them, and knowing when it comes to people of color and our health issues and how food just dominate our lives and we eat all the wrong foods, and why a light doesn't come on for this has nothing to do with anybody else. This is for yourself. I'm
Yeah,
not talking
that's
about
true.
anything you're doing for me. This is for yourself.
That
So
is true.
I don't get that. I just don't understand why you don't want that woo versus that Aaron girl, you know what I'm
Yeah, yeah,
saying?
yeah.
I don't get that. That is beyond my understanding. It pisses me off more than anything. It's just like, what the really?
And you know something, I think some of the times women have so many things on their plate. They got to take care of the children, and they got to, go to work and all those things. And they forget about their husbands. The husband is the last one on the
But
list.
but
So,
but
but you
but
got to, huh?
but what I'm saying, Kathy, listen to me. my point that I'm trying to make is this is not about the husband.
I
Right.
understand that.
It is about the husband, but this is about you, yourself. Even and maybe you can address that. But when you work out, exercise, and when you look in the mirror and you get feedback from yourself, that makes more of your day, makes more of how you feel about life and yourself. What I'm trying to say is, I don't understand why it's not about them. Forget the husband or forget the wife. It's about
But
you and how you see yourself and how you want to be seen. Period.
yes, but I tell you what, it is very common in our society for women, once they start getting children, having children, they forget about themselves. They're last on the list, and their husbands, they're last on the list. Now, what I do believe and I know to be true, you should be able to take care of yourself. When you're taking care of yourself, you're better able to take care of your children, and your husband needs to be a priority as well. So if you strengthen that system with you taking care of yourself, you taking care of your husband and vice versa, you're better able to take care of the children and better able to function on your job. But for some reason in our society, women, they get stuck on taking care of the children. They worry about the job. They start worrying about the house and all the different things that really don't matter or shouldn't matter that much. And they don't get it right.
Uh, well, well, Kathy, it works both ways because the men are sometimes just as bad as the women.
Of course,
Yeah, when I saw my cousins like a couple of weeks ago, I'm sitting there looking at my cousins like, what? I saw,
they are the worst
I
ones.
saw,
They put pressure on the women, and then they got a big old gut.
I'm sitting there
And
looking at three of them
they want
waddling,
their women to be a size 2, and they're
and I'm sitting
wearing
there looking,
size 50
and I'm like,
pants.
there's three of them that was waddling, and I'm like, wow, I just. I don't know. It's hard to understand because you, it's a way of life. It's a quality of life. You
It's a
know,
quality of life. You're right.
there was two of them, no, three of them that was in really like was basically wheelchair bound. You know, and then and and life happens and stuff like that, but how much of it is contributed to your diet or not understanding eating processed foods and you know what you're contributing to when it comes to what you're eating or what you're not eating or your and then the thing of it is that I always say this, we become, as you spoke of it, that we become part of a society that you'll go chase this thinking that it'll bring you more money, but you won't take the time to go and chase something that'll bring you a better quality of life health wise. It's just
Exactly.
it
It's
doesn't make
skewed.
sense.
Yeah,
It
you're
makes no
absolutely right.
sense. You know.
And I think sometimes too, if families would just look at, at their lives, and instead of running out to the restaurant, to do what Mary Jane and Joe Blow is doing, and focus on your own family and preparing those meals, your husband is weight is going to be balanced, and so will yours, because you're eating a balanced meal.
Well, and, and, and I want to ask Adrian what did he meant by that. That that was visual, but yeah, Adrian made a comment. But when you think about this this conversation, and then the thing of it is, we don't like to talk about it. We don't like to have this conversation. And actually, my aunt that's in her 80s, and she's been saying this for years, because she's conscious of a diet and stuff like that. And then her friends would get mad at her because she's not, because she's constant in her diet and taking care of herself. So now her friends want her to be big like her. I mean, like them. And so they argue with her about the fact that she's too skinny. And you just like,
Yeah, yeah.
that that makes no sense
And
to me.
sometimes it's envy. Sometimes it's envy. Some of the people who are picking on, oh, is she so skinny? They want to be skinny. The skinny person is taking the time out. They're probably exercising. They're probably eating right. And of course, sometimes it's genetics. And they envy that person, and yet still they pick on them.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to
Sad.
ask you to, for those, what type of advice would you like to give those, or counseling for somebody? What is it that you can say? What are some of the things that could be done when it comes to couples who may get some brown, big, granny panties in the mail? What is
Well,
it? Maybe, see, if I had known you back then, I mean, that was, ooh, that was, man, that was in the 90s. That was like 1998, 99, somewhere around up in there. That was, whoa, that was a long time ago. But I actually dated her for 7 years. I dated her for 7 years.
oh,
After I
wow.
came, yeah, and she actually lived up in Indianapolis. And
Oh,
I lived
wow.
here, in Orlando, and so it was. Now our relationship was never a question of whether or not we love each other. That has never been the issue at all. It was just other stuff, And she's
Other issues, because
right.
sometimes that love alone
Right. I mean, she's
is not
very
enough.
successful as an architect. She owns her own business, and she now people will see people will relate to this comment better than they could having a better diet. Okay, now when I say what I say here, people will be like, oh yeah, right? Because they can relate to this. Back when we were dating years ago, the guy that I bought a car from, he is still a car dealer, but he does it independently, and so he saves you a lot of money. So she called me a few months ago and say, hey, is such and such, is he still? Can I still buy a car from him? And I go, yeah. So I put them in touch with each other, and she gave him over $50,000 in cash to buy a Mercedes. So she was able to buy a car in cash. I can't buy a
Mm-hmm.
car in cash. I mean, I can't buy over $50,000. I think that car was
Mm-hmm.
close to $60,000 that she gave to him in cash. So she rolling
Mm-hmm.
like that, and people will be like, "Man, you not with her? Man, she can send me some granny panties all day long."
Yeah, see. But you see, Charles, it's not about that.
I know, Kathy, that's
Y-
what I'm trying to tell you. We're not together, but she's very successful as far as she's an architect. She's very good at what she does, and we get along fine. I mean, we talk from time
Yeah.
to time, and but the issues are still the same of why I didn't marry her. That hadn't changed. It's not all that other stuff that people would look at, but it's my quality of life in the sense of what I mean. Like for an example, this is just me. I It's kind of weird. Now you may find this weird in that sense because I'm kind of like in a box. I'm in a box. But it's
Mm-hmm.
weird to me that a man would marry a woman that does not cook. That's strange to me. She doesn't know. She doesn't have to know how to cook. Her being willing to learn. But those who don't want to go in the kitchen, that's strange to me because I didn't grow up. I grew up seeing something different. But more importantly, Kathy, let me say this so you understand what I mean. As I understand my life in the covenant of a family and a home, it starts with the breaking of the bread and the family sitting down at the table and what that means, period. And so how a person or people don't want that in their lives, it's just strange to me. The breaking of the bread and the family sitting down at the table as a family and what that means. And I won't really touch on it any more than this. As you understand that during Thanksgiving and Christmas and those holidays, the suicide rate goes up because
Yes.
whatever happens in life, that time passes and family members are no longer there, and you no longer have that Thanksgiving dinner that you love, that you sat down at the table and what it meant for a family to be together. So that's what I'm talking, because you can't put a price on that. So
That's true.
it's so the idea of that by itself and what all of that means, and you don't have that, that's weird to me. Just like when I'm saying some of the other stuff is so weird because it's not stuff that costs money to make a house a home. And so
You're
your
absolutely right.
inability to know how to make your house a home, and you not willing or wanting to understand the simple things. Say God made it simple, but you are so caught up into all this other stuff that you have meaning to that has no meaning. But breaking bread together and sitting down with your family and all of that, and I don't mean it like she got to cook. We both cook. I'm talking about the breaking of the bread and sitting at the table and what it means as a family. So as the Thanksgiving dinner and the dinner period and what that is and how everybody come together, and like I was talking about how I went to my cousin's funeral 2 weeks ago, and here I'm seeing family members and everybody coming together, and everybody always say we need to do this more often. Why it have to be a funeral? Because everybody know that we're family now, and what's that's like sitting there with everybody together, talking and hugging and embracing and loving. That's what I'm talking about. And every time it happens, everybody sits there and go, we need to do this more often. And a lot of families do it. Not my family. We only come together when it's a funeral. Well, that part of the family. But,
Eddie.
but when we do come together, it's a wonderful thing. It's great. And everybody be
Yes.
sitting there with hours and hours talking and da-da-da, and you're playing catch up, and you're thinking about how you don't want that. But that's just me. I'm in my little box. I don't get that. Just like I don't
You
get
know,
why you don't
it's
want to take
not
care of
you,
yourself.
and I think Charles, that's what's wrong with society. And I think if we were to go back to the basics, God is first, the family is second, and then everything else comes after. I think we would have a stronger society.
Right. Oh yeah.
We
Well,
would have better families and a stronger society. But we
yeah.
have
You know,
moved away
unfortunately,
from that, and we're
we're
into the things, the accumulation
right,
of wealth and things.
right, and all those things. Another show talking about different things with what you just said, because you can talk about what life is and the true values of things, because in our life there's so many who have placed value on things that have no value, and sometimes we do have to go through things in heaven. Forbids our prayers go out to those that are dealing with those who have lost so much, whether or not it's through the virus, whether or not it's through these hurricanes, or whether or not it's through these fires, and so on and so forth. And then when you go through something, and I'm able to stand next to my wife and my children, and I look and I see that house is burned down and all the things that we own in it, but I'm able to look and touch my children. I'm able to touch my wife and the people that I love, because we can always go find a place to stay. We can always
Exactly.
go find a car to ride around in, and to understand that these things that burn down does not put a signature on the true essence of who I am. Is who I am as a father, as a husband, as a friend, and how I treat people, what I would be known for. I would like to be known for. I could be known for the guy who had the real nice house, who didn't talk to nobody, who never did anything for anybody, but I had a really nice house, and I drove a really nice
Right.
car. And my wife didn't
Right.
like me, and my wife, she slept around with everybody, and she divorced, and I got divorced like 9 times. But I had a lot of money though. I
Yeah,
just
and that
exaggerated,
doesn't
but
bring you
but I think
happiness.
but I think you get the picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really exaggerated that, but I think you get the picture.
I get the picture. Yeah. Our values are just based on what we have.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's what defines us.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
the the thing of it is that you came into this world without anything, and you're leaving without anything.
Without anything.
With You're not taking anything with you. You came in with nothing. You leaving with nothing. So you need to understand that.
That's
But
real talk. That's
yeah,
real talk.
we don't like to process that, that way. And
Yeah. Yeah.
unfortunately, unfortunately, where we're going, you can't have a name stamped on anything where it has a significant meaning, because whether or not you're a billionaire or you someone that don't have shoes, you still looked at the same in that sense. But we don't understand that part of it. But that's just me talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And you know what? I want to say this, that I have a problem with people having things. It's that you don't allow the things to, and don't allow it to define you. Because the things that we have, when God blesses us, He doesn't bless us for us to keep it for ourselves. He blesses us so that we can be a blessing to others.
right.
And when we acquire these things, if we're using it in the right way, then we'll have the time to focus on our families, the things that are important.
That is very true. So I'm trying to put this up so people can contact you in case they would
All
like to have your
right.
services. Right, right, right,
All right.
right. If they like to contact you, and if they like to find out more about your services that you provide, contact
Yes,
you.
Kathy Meeks, 407-719-0610. Marriage and
Right.
family therapy and sex therapy.
Yeah. Oh. By the way, because I know that you were talking about you being a sex therapist and how people like to call you up and like breathe heavy on the phone and that and those type of things, right? I just
Yeah.
yeah, I just want you to know that it was actually I blocked a call. I mean, I blocked my number, but it's been a while since I called.
It was you. Woo, okay.
Hey, hey, I'll be calling soon though. I miss you.
Love you.
Hey, but you know what's cool? Know what's
But
cool? I like that you just listen.
hey, okay. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I just listen.
Anyway, this is the Journey 2020 where we come to you every Monday at 7 p.m. This is our very own Kathy Meeks. She's clinical psychologist, sex therapist from Robertson Associates. I know she's been very busy. Everything, you're not in the office still. You're still doing stuff over
Yes,
the.
yes. Video conferences.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, all right. So cool. Any idea when it might? I mean, I know there's an answer. There is not an answer, but any talk of anything that might be back to some type of normalcy sometime soon?
No, as a matter, we have no idea. But I tell you what, Charles, what I'm finding out is that this Zoom, the way that we're doing it, So many people have gotten accustomed to it
Okay.
that I'm not even sure there is no way to go back. I
Okay.
think there will be a new normal.
Okay. Well, cool. All right. Well,
Hmm.
thank you so very much. You are always a blessing, a fun. I got an idea for you.
What's that?
Remember, you were talking about having your little sex thing again. Maybe you can have it a Zoom. A Zoom.
Yeah, that's true. We're trying to do some things because our dates just keep getting pushed back. But maybe that's the way to do it. You're right.
Yeah. You can invite some people, and whatever you want to charge, or however you want to do it. But I'm pretty sure that you probably can get the one of the what you call them there off of Orange Blossom Trail to be your sponsor. What's the place there? Oh, is it John Millen
Um,
or
yeah. What is it
yeah,
called? Yeah, they would love to do that. They had offered to do it last time. What is it called? That
yeah,
sex toy shop. What is it
right,
called on Johnny Young?
right,
I can't
premier,
think of it, but you know what I'm talking about.
right, right, yeah, okay, but yeah, it's something that you should look into because I think it would be very successful. That's why I'm
Great
always
idea.
that's why I'm always blown away as I was sitting here talking about because sex sells and I don't understand why people don't want to be sexy. I don't get it. It just blows my
Especially
mind.
now. Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean I mean I know I know I'm old now, Kathy, but I still can see, boo. I see very well.
Hey.
Hey, hey,
And you can still
hey,
move. You
hey.
look
I'd be
great.
like, hey.
Hey.
Anyway, let me let me say this right here. Let me see if I can find what I'm looking for. Okay, questions, comments, or concerns, you can always email me here at the journey2020@gmail.com. You may have a show idea, a topic, or something that you would like, or something that you may have a suggestion for Dr. Meeks, something that you would like for us to cover on the show. So you can email us here at the journey2020@gmail.com. So with that being said, Kathy, I hope that you're staying safe and you're keeping your distance. And I'd be telling people, more importantly than anything, do not listen to these people out of D.C. Please use some common sense. Common sense. And I try to tell people as much as possible. And Kathy, I hope you do too. Please vote. Please get out
Please,
and vote.
please, you do the
Please, please,
same.
please get out and vote. Please make sure that your
Please,
friends,
folks,
family,
get out and vote.
yes, yes,
Please.
and make sure that whoever has a way to get to the polls to vote, if you don't have a way to get there, make sure you call a friend, Uber, or
Mhm.
whoever. Find a way to get there. Okay, if you got the mail-in, vote, please.
Vote, vote, vote. We need people to go out and vote. Come on, vote.
All right.
And by the way, for those people, somebody sent me something recently for felons who have fines that need to be paid, to be able to vote. Please call somebody. I don't have the information now, but we're trying to get people to be able to go out there and vote.
Yes,
So if
definitely.
you have fines, Google it. I understand that LeBron James and Michael Jordan, they've put together some funds where they're really trying to get people to go out there and vote.
Right. Yes. Okay. That's a
All
wonderful
right.
thing. It's only a few weeks away, and we can
Only
only
a few
do
weeks away.
right. All right. Don't be left behind. It's very, 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 very important. I don't know how else to say it. So, thank you, Dr. Meeks. I really appreciate it.
Thank
You've
you,
been a blessing.
darling.
It's always fun. and
Always, always a pleasure.
I'll be blocking my number sometime soon. Okay.
All right. Okay.
All right. All right. Enjoy.
Okay. I'll know now.
Enjoy Enjoy the rest of your week.
Okay, adios. Bye bye.